Okay, we're live, I think. Yeah, it says live, and yeah, cool. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Just sort of jump on for a midweek live stream. Hope you're all keeping well. Um, Wanted to just have a chat about a couple of things that I've been meaning to talk about this week. I prefer doing this live format a little bit more than the normal videos. I think it's a little bit more personal, interactive, and stuff like that. So yeah, hope you're keeping well. Just watching a Spezia against Juventus actually on BT Sport. Juventus are winning 3-2. They were 2-1 down. They're not looking good at the moment. I think that Allegri's got his work cut out there this season. They always say you never go back, don't they? He had a lot of success first time round, but he'll have to see how they get on. They've still got a really good squad there with De Ligt and Dybala and um, yeah, they've got some really good players. I think they signed Locatelli in the summer as well, didn't they? So there's two of you watching, so hello to whoever that is. Yeah, there's a few bits I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about Spurs in the last couple of weeks, Barcelona, the state of Barcelona, and also Derby as well. What's happened with Derby in the Championship? So, if you're lurking, if you're around, come say hello. Got any questions? Ask me some questions. And yeah, we'll just stay around, see how long it takes. Maybe an hour, maybe longer, but yeah, we'll just see how it goes. If you're fed up with my voice, that's fine. That's no problem. Um, but yeah, I wanted to get started anyway. So the first thing I just wanted to talk about was Spurs in the last couple of weeks. Now, obviously, there's been a bit of a mixed start for Spurs, really. Obviously, they got off to an absolute flyer this season under Nuno. Three league games, three 1-0 wins against Watford City and I can't remember the other home game. You'll murder me for that, but yeah, with our Wolves, it was Wolves away, wasn't it? Started well, looked very, very solid, but in the last couple of weeks, it just seems to have dropped off a little bit, really. Obviously, they lost 3-0 away to Palace, struggled against Rennes in the Conference League 2-2, but I think that Rennes game was a little bit of a. It was harder than it looked that Rennes game because they actually qualified for the Champions League last season. They're a very, very good side, got some really dangerous players. So we actually did all right to get a point out of that game, to be fair, I think. And then, obviously, on Sunday, we got dismantled in that second half against Chelsea, didn't we? And that's the game that I want to talk about for a little bit now, actually. Um, I think he went very, very attacking with the players that he picked in that game. Obviously, you had Ndombele playing, Deli was playing. Wasn't much in terms of defensive solidity there. I think Tanguy Ndombele come in for Oliver Skip in the middle of midfield, so he replaced the defensive midfielder with a box-to-box sort of attacking midfielder. Gave him a chance after impressing against Rennes in the not the Champions League, in the Conference League a few days before. And I thought we started the game all right, to be honest. I think we played quite well. We were quick to the press. We were all over him in the first half. Okay, we didn't have many chances in that first half, but we certainly went toe to toe with them. And then at half time, obviously, Thomas Tuchel, people rave about Thomas Tuchel. I'm not really convinced by him at the moment, but obviously, he brought on Kante. He switched it up in midfield. And then look what went and happened. They got a grip of the game. They pushed forward. Seemed like every time they went forward in that second half, they scored a goal. And obviously, they cruised it 3-0 in the end. Now, how much of it was Spurs playing badly and how much of it was Chelsea being world class? I think it was probably 75% Chelsea being world class, 25% Spurs being horrendous. Spurs didn't get going at all in the second half. I think Harry Kane, it's clear now that his head is elsewhere this season. Should have let him go. I've seen a couple of things today saying that move to Man City was closer than what people thought. 130 million, the deal was nearly done, but it just didn't go through in the end. Charlie Kane couldn't get the deal done in the end. And yeah, he just doesn't look good at all this season, Kane. He doesn't look interested. People say that he's not getting the service or anything like that, but I don't think it's necessarily down to who gets the service or, you will find space. Usually with Kane, he drops deeper to link into the play and stuff like that. It's just not good. Not good at all, really. Thought that second half against Chelsea was very, very worrying. Um, Obviously, there I've seen a couple of bits on Twitter already. I'm quite active on Twitter around what Spurs fans, the general consensus around Spurs fans, and the feeling around Spurs at the moment is that people just aren't interested in the club. Really, they're not getting up for games. They're not necessarily happy with the appointment of Nuno, of the signings in the summer. They are absolutely not happy with Daniel Levy, and yeah, I just don't know where the club go. It's a very, very weird one. The mood is terrible at the moment. Um, See, that Chelsea game was a worrying barometer of what's to come. I think. Obviously, got Wolves tonight in the Carabao Cup third round at Molineux, so Nuno goes back to Molineux for the second time in a month since he left in the summer. He's actually gone very strong tonight. The squad. I'll just read the squad out now. You've got Galini, Tanganga, Romero, Sanchez, Davies, Skip, Deli, and Dombele, Brian Hill, Lo Celso, and Kane. So it's a strong squad. He's got Højbjerg, Reguilon, Doherty, Sonny, and Dane Scarlett on the bench, I think it is. So, his strength in depth as well. He's really going for it, especially with playing players like Harry Kane and all that sort of thing in the squad as well. I'm not necessarily over the moon with that team selection, but he's the boss. He knows the players. I think he might be using it not as a training game, but to get more tactical familiarity with things. And just hope we don't get any injuries. I just desperately hope we don't pick up any injuries. Otherwise, we'll be in for he'll be in for a bit of a stick, I think. So yeah, that's the thoughts on Spurs in the moment. Obviously it's not fantastic. I'm worried about them. I really am worried about them. There seems to be a lot of the players that were there last season that still aren't necessarily uh, in the right frame of mind to represent the club at the moment. I talk about Kane, but obviously you've still got other players there like Harry Winks, like Dele Alli, like Eric Dyer, Tanguy Ndombele. All of these guys, have been underwhelming at best for a couple of years now, and the fact that they're still in that squad is a great, great worry. So we'll see how it goes this season. But um, let's see kind of what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think the North London derby on Sunday is going to be a proper nail biter. I'm really not looking forward to that, to be honest. I mean, if they win 2-0, I think they go above us on Sunday. With the start that they had as well, it'll be typical if they go above us just in time for the North London derby. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I'm just going to sit up a little bit. Excuse me. Um, so yeah, let's see how that one goes on Sunday. But Chelsea, I've got to say, Chelsea, I was very, very impressed with them on Sunday. I thought Tuchel changed it when he needed to, made the tactical changes, and they just suffocated us. I thought Alonso at left back was fantastic. He's not a very likable guy, but he's a fantastic player. Obviously, Kante, when he come on, just did N'Golo Kante things. He was world class again. I've just got quality throughout. Lukaku absolutely bullied our two centre halves. It was, yeah, frustrating. Very, very frustrating. So yeah, that's my little segment on Spurs. So obviously, if there's anyone there that wants to ask any questions about the Spurs, recent performances or anything like that, then please let me know. The next thing I wanted to talk about actually was Barcelona. Uh, Obviously, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. That's clear for everyone to see. But to say they are in a crisis period at the moment is doing them favours, to be fair, because they are struggling in a way that I don't think I've ever seen a big football club struggle before. Um, Obviously, their 3-0 Champions League defeat to Bayern Munich last Tuesday was just a tip of the iceberg in regards to what's been going on at that club recently. Koeman's been coming out and he's been saying things against the board. He's saying stuff like, if it wasn't for me at this club, the club would be dead. He was saying stuff like, it's down to me that this club is still alive. Which I mean, the bollocks on that bloke are unbelievable for him to come out and say that. Considering Juan Laporta in the summer when he won the election, he wanted to get rid of him, and it was only that there were no other options available that he actually kept his job. So don't know why he's coming out with saying some of the stuff he's saying at the moment. It's absolute nonsense. But yeah, obviously following up from that 3-0 defeat to Bayern Munich, where they were absolutely hammered beyond belief. It was embarrassing to see, really. Jordi Alba, I think he had a fever and flu, had diarrhea and stuff before the game, and he was forced to play. He come off, and then they put an 18-year-old, a guy called Balde, at left back. It was, I mean, I don't know if you saw the stuff of Luke de Jong trying to get away from the Bayern Munich centre half when he was clean through in the first half. It was embarrassing, to be honest. I felt a little bit sorry for Luke de Jong because he tried to break away from the from the Bayern Munich centre half, and just got absolutely nowhere near him. And it was so embarrassing to watch. He's just got no pace, no movement. It was really bad. And a striker the quality of Luke de Jong should not be playing centre forward for Barcelona when 4 years ago they had Messi, Suarez, and Neymar up front, and now how times have changed. It's terrible. Anyway, going into the game at the weekend against Granada, it was actually on Monday night. Koeman needed a win because there is talk that Laporta has given him 3 games to save his Barcelona job. They went 1-0 down, and for the last 15 minutes of the game, he put Gerard Piqué and Luke de Jong up front as 2 target men and just whipped balls into them 2 guys up front looking for knockdowns. I mean, it was quite a sight seeing Gerard Piqué and Luke de Jong do that for Barcelona. Just a true indication of how far that mighty club have fallen. It's absolutely unbelievable to see, to be honest. I couldn't quite believe it, but in a way, it's sad, to see the Catalans like that. The new camp was 14,000 under capacity, which was already a limited capacity. 27 out of 41,000, I think they were allowed inside the new camp. I mean, he's a dead man walking. He's got to be. In the end, Barcelona did get a late goal and drew 1-1 with Granada, but the style of play, everything about it was just a horrible, horrible performance and evening for Barcelona. You go back to the days under Enrique, Villanova, Guardiola and stuff like that. It was terribly sad to see 2 lumps up front, basically going back to old school Burnley Stoke Premier League football. They're smashing balls up to the big men and trying to feed off of it. That's not how Barcelona play football. And for Koeman to come out and say that, and apparently after the game he was quite arsey as well, saying, what else could I do with the players that I've got here and stuff. I mean, he does look to be a dead man walking there. There is talk. I think his name is Tony Martin. He's a Catalan journalist who's saying that basically a decision's now been made from Guardiola to dispense with Koeman as soon as possible, really, as soon as the rest of the board and the socios agree to it. I don't think that's any surprise, to be fair. Obviously, it's been in the last couple of weeks, it's been writings on the wall. He's just not. It doesn't even look like he's enjoying being there, to be honest. I don't blame him, but it's shocking. The style of the football, the attitude that he's giving off is just really, really dreadful. So, who do they replace him with? Well, there's not an abundance of managers who really want the job at the moment. Apparently, a short list of 5 managers have been written up by Laporta and the rest of the Barcelona board. On that list, apparently, Bobby Martinez, the Belgian manager, Xavi Hernandez, obviously one of the greatest midfielders ever, who was in the Guardiola treble winning side. He's currently out in Qatar, winning trophies with, I think it's Al Sadd, the Qatari side. And who else was there? Oh, Andrea Pirlo was on the list as well. Jordi Cruyff was on the list, obviously Johan's son. But, I mean, I'll take that with a pinch of salt because apparently Bobby Martinez come out today and said he's not going anywhere. He doesn't want the Barcelona job, which is just crazy. I put a tweet up earlier on today talking about Bobby Martinez. He seems to have got this reputation as an incredible coach and manager, despite achieving nothing really in the game. He obviously interviews exceptionally well because I've not seen anything to suggest, he should be getting linked with the Barcelona job. It's just madness. But yeah, I mean, now and then, obviously Xavi's been linked with it quite a few times now, but he seems to be waiting for the opportune moment to go in there. At first, under Bartomeu, he turned it down because he didn't believe in the sporting project. And then, obviously, now Laporta's there. He seems to be turning it down or at least hesitating again. I wonder if he's going to wait until after the Qatar World Cup because he's got friends in very high places in the Qatar kind of sporting and even royal family set up there. He's been seen doing quite a lot of adverts and stuff like that, promotion for Qatar. So, yeah, you never know. He might stay out there and turn it down for a second or third time, which would just be ridiculous, really. I really hope he goes back there at some point. Which leaves Andrea Pirlo out of a job at the moment. Obviously, massively underwhelming at Juventus. Didn't last the season last season. Um, Obviously, he was a class player, but again, class players don't always make class managers, do they? And then you've got others as well, such as Antonio Conte, but he'd want 20 million a year with his own backroom staff, control over transfers, control of basically everything at the club. And right now, Barcelona probably can't afford to pay a manager 20 million and give him 15 backroom staff members or something like that. So I don't really know what they're going to do if they do sack Coman. They had a guy in their reserves in their B team called Javier Garcia Pimento or Pimento Garcia. He was very highly rated. He got one of the youth sides at Barcelona playing fantastic football, but he left the club at the end of the last season, so they can't even promote him. I don't know what they do, and they need to get this next appointment right because they're not playing well. They're skint. The fans are pissed off. I don't know what they do. It's just very, very difficult. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there at Barcelona. I think that after after Monday night's absolute debacle, we'll have to see what happens with Koeman. I don't think he'll last too much longer. I have a feeling he's probably already a dead man walking and he'll be out of a job as soon as Laporta manages to replace him and gets an agreement in place with another manager because he wasn't Laporta's man in the first place and he certainly isn't going to see out the season, I don't think. Um, I've seen stuff from Laporta in the Catalan media saying next summer they'll be in a position to challenge for transfers again and stuff like that, hinting towards maybe making a bid for Haaland and stuff, which would be really cool to see because obviously Barcelona are a major European player with their financial issues. It would be great to see him get back on side, but yeah, we'll see how it goes with that one. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is obviously Derby County going into administration. Desperately sad situation there. Obviously, years and years and years of mismanagement by Mel Morris, the Derby chairman, topped off with a club obviously struggling due to COVID, which every single club up and down the country struggled with, all over Europe, to be honest. That seems to be the final nail in the coffin for Derby, who, obviously filed for administration couldn't I think the official wording was they couldn't fulfill their financial obligations between now and the end of the season, which is why administrators have been brought in to sell off assets, release staff. It's desperately sad. I'm absolutely gutted for them. They're a massive, massive club. My best mate is a Derby season ticket holder, so terribly sad to see the club struggle in this way. They've been given a minus 12 points deduction which has taken them to the bottom of the league. And there's also potential for a further 9 points to be deducted off them for some financial irregularities last season as well. It's terribly sad to see. They're probably going to get relegated this season now. But the bottom line is they need to find a buyer as soon as possible to make sure the club even exists in League One next season. I really hope they do because, like I say, they're a fantastic club with a good stadium and good support. But millions and millions of pounds of debt. It's clear that Mel Morris, the chairman there, obviously went promotion or bust a few seasons ago. Over a couple of years, they hired Lampard, got Mason Mount, Fikayo Tomori, Harry Wilson in there. got to that playoff final. And I think that was the game that they absolutely had to win for for the club, for the future of the club. Obviously, they didn't win it. They lost, didn't they? I think it was 2-1 they lost to Aston Villa that day. Missed out on promotion, and as a result of that, the finances have taken an absolute pounding. And unfortunately, they've gone into administration, which is just crazy to see a club of that size go into administration. But the administrators have said that there are some serious parties that are holding talks with the club to, hopefully get bought out, get put on a more steady long-term footing financially and stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I really hope that Wayne Rooney and his staff can, hope. Well, there's not much that they can do. They don't have any control over it. I think they've done amicably this season, to be honest, to get up to. I think they were on 7 points before they entered administration. So yeah, fingers crossed that they can get themselves out of that hole and get a buyer as soon as possible. Because if there's one thing we need, it is for football clubs to not go bust. Because it's just a damning indictment on the EFL and the FA's fit and proper persons owner test and stuff like that. How can these clubs even be allowed to get run into the ground by their owners? Who are quite clearly looking to make as much money as they can and making terrible business decisions. So, yeah, very, very sad state of affairs. Juventus have just beaten Spezia 3-2, by the way, so that eases a bit of the pressure off of Max Allegri. A couple of other things. What else is there to talk about? How funny that penalty was for Man United, for West Ham against Man United on Sunday, was it? The moment that he brought on Mark Noble, I just knew Mark Noble was going to miss that penalty. They never bring a player on for penalties. I mean, I can see why he did it, because I think Noble scored 9 out of his last 10 or something. And West Ham have missed 4 of their last 5 penalties, I think it was. But just absolutely hilarious to see that. You just knew as soon as he was running up to take that penalty, he was going to miss. I thought that was fantastic. Kevin De Bruyne back in training for Man City. I think he played in the Carabao Cup again last night. So that'll be very, very cool to see him back playing. Obviously, it's bad news for the rest of the Premier League, but he's a baller and he's great to watch. So that'll be really cool to see. I find Pep, he doesn't half talk some absolute nonsense sometimes, doesn't he? I was listening to him chatting about how he had a lack of players and stuff like that the other week. Just absolutely ridiculous, some of the stuff he comes out with. He talks about how he'd have to play a load of youngsters in the Carabao Cup and ends up with an outrageously good front six for the Wickham game, but they ended up winning 5-1 last night. So I think that sometimes his self entitlement is very, very irritating for a lot of other Premier League fans. He comes out and he's so passionate about the smallest little things. The hard done by stuff that he always pleads. He's at one of the richest clubs in the world. He's been given hundreds and hundreds of £1 million to strengthen his squad. Got one of the strongest squads in Europe, so I don't know what he's complaining about. Sometimes it gets a bit tiresome listening to Pep. So, yeah, we'll see how that one goes, obviously, as the season progresses. But I must say, after the Chelsea win against Spurs on Sunday, I put Chelsea down as favourites to win the Premier League this season. They just look so good, the way, the squad in particular. I talk about Man City's squad, but Chelsea's squad isn't far behind now. They've got so much strength in depth. I mean, you talk about Alonso, got £15 million worth of Ben Chilwell left back on the bench who isn't getting a game, and they're just very, very strong from top to bottom. Obviously, went out and spent 100 million on Lukaku. Is it the ground running? They're just very, very impressive, and I think they might, over a season, they might do it. One of my mates, who was also quite clued up on football, is saying that the style of football that they actually play is reminiscent to Antonio Conte's style. The fact that they pack the midfield, they've got the wing backs, they're very, very hard to break down. And what happened with Conte's Chelsea, they went on and won the league, didn't they? And I think that they'll probably push City and maybe Liverpool all the way. I fancy Liverpool again. They're looking very strong this season, so I fancy them to do something as well. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens in the Premier League this season. Obviously, with Barcelona, I'm going to keep an eye on that as well, because, you know, They are very passionately supported, not just in Catalonia, but all around the world. You only have to look at their replies to their social media accounts and you see how pissed off the fans are there at the new camp and all around Europe, the guys who follow the clubs. So, yeah, we'll see how that one goes. There has been talk of managers like Eric Ten Hag being linked with a job, but I can't see him leaving so early into the season with Ajax. He's a fantastic manager. Even managers like Graham Potter, got off to an absolute flyer at Brighton as well. I quite fancy to do well at a club like that because honestly, the football that he gets Brighton playing is fantastic. I think Spurs really missed a trick not getting Graham Potter. I was advocating for him to get signed all summer, but unfortunately Spurs didn't go for it. I think he's a really, really good manager who's destined for a big job, potentially to take over from Klopp at Liverpool in 2024. I tip him to, but we'll see what happens with that one. So anyway, it doesn't look like there's any viewers on this, but that's no problem because I'll get this video uploaded to YouTube so people can have a browse through it and always leave always leave comments in the always leave questions in the comments and stuff like that. So it's no problem at all. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on Spurs, Barcelona, and Derby today. Got any questions? Anything you want to ask me? Follow me on Twitter at JordanPomeroy00. And until next time, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, and stay safe. I'll see you soon. Take care. See you later.